Penn State does not just hand out the sticks to very many players. Number 11 is a very special number that the Nittany Lions give to the best of the best. Micah Parsons wore it when he was in school, and they currently have another superstar up-and-coming defensive player, and that is edge rusher Abdul Carter, who has been awarded the sticks in back-to-back years. An incredibly explosive athlete who is making the transition from linebacker to edge in 2024, how high could Carter hear his name called in the 2025 NFL Draft? That is what we will be going over in today's video. But hey guys, if you guys are new to the channel, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon, where for $5 a month, you guys will get exclusive access to my big board, draft evaluations, and scouting reports, as well as exclusive prospect interviews. I highly recommend checking it out if you want to learn a little bit more about some of these prospects. Leave a comment and let me know which players you guys would want to see in a future video, and without further ado, let's take a closer look at Abdul Carter. Carter was absolutely fantastic for Penn State in 2023. When you watch choprobinson's tape, you couldn't help but notice number 11 absolutely dominating Big Ten opponents. He primarily played as a linebacker last year, but he was phenomenal, posting 33 total tackles, 28 total pressures to go along with 4 sacks. He had a ton of hype entering this year as a potential number 1 overall pick contender, and he has been a bit slow out the gate. He has 4 pressures on the season through 3 games with 1 sack and 6 total tackles. Luckily for him though, football isn't played on paper and he does a lot of things really well. Athletically, Abdul Carter is one of the most impressive players I have ever seen. He is 6'3", 259 pounds, and has an absolutely incredible wingspan to go along with it. His size is phenomenal, but his quickness is absolutely absurd. You just don't see players that move like this come along very often. His first step off the line of scrimmage is lethal. There were multiple times that he was in the backfield in the blink of an eye because offensive linemen didn't have the quickness to keep up with him. He has unbelievable movement skills and athleticism, change of direction, that make you super excited about what his potential is in the league. As a pass rusher, we're going to have a bit of a mixed conversation here because I think it's a bit more complicated than just saying he is or he isn't good in that regard. As a linebacker, Penn State used Carter a lot as a blitzing threat. He would play primarily in the box, and he had unbelievable timing to shoot the gaps and make splash plays as a pass rusher, which you really love to see, and you felt his presence in that regard. However, this year as a true edge rusher, he feels a lot more limited, and he is not making life as difficult on the quarterback. For one, he plays with high pads, and he really doesn't generate any power from his lower body. For a player of his size, you would like to see him be a bit more powerful, but he honestly really struggled at times, and he was stonewalled when met with some pretty powerful blocks. But to me, the most concerning thing about Abdul Carter has to be his hands. He really has not shown the ability to be able to consistently beat tackles off the line of scrimmage. He flashes potential here and there, but nothing is really consistent with him. He has great length, as we mentioned, but he doesn't really use it to his advantage. He doesn't have many pass rushing tools in his bag, and too often it feels like he tries to win with his athleticism. And it works a lot of times, because he is such a freak athlete, and he occasionally would break out a spin move. And his bend is good as well, but I really want to see him develop some more power and showcase a few more pass rush moves in his arsenal. Like I said, there are moments when he leverages his hands and his length and you see things start to click, but those moments are few and far between. And to further prove my point, he ranks 462 out of 598 edge rushers this season in terms of pass rush win rate at 7.8%. He's not winning off the line of scrimmage, and those are absolutely disastrous numbers that have to go up if he's going to succeed in the NFL, and I'm worried about it. I'm going to be completely honest. He really hasn't shown much growth, and I think he might be better suited to stay in that blitzing role. As a run defender, it's more of the same. He does some really good things when crashing down and defending the run, but he did have some inconsistencies there as well. He has to do a better job at tackling. He has a 20% missed tackle rate over his collegiate career, and that's just not going to fly at the NFL level. His block shedding issues do continue as a run stuffer, but I think he does have some upside in that department. He has posted 72 run stops in his collegiate career, and I think he can certainly be a solid run defender at the next level. Lastly, I did like what we saw from Carter in coverage last year. As a true edge, he's only gotten 3 coverage snaps on the season, but I thought he moved very well in coverage last year. He had excellent anticipation and read the quarterback's eyes well, while also having the movement skills to stick with tight ends and running backs. I think that's an area of his game that is really underrated and could potentially lead to him transitioning back to a linebacker in the NFL. Coming into recording this video, I was really high on Abdul Carter and thought he was a potential top 10 pick in this draft class based solely on the tape we saw last year. Based on the tape I've seen early on in this season, I'm left very disappointed. I thought the transition to edge would do wonders for him, but he's really struggled to win as a pass rusher, and his block shedding looks worse than ever. He was almost half of the pass rush snaps he had last year already. I believe he had 112 pass rush snaps in 2023. He's already got 55 this year, and he's been way less productive. That being said, you can't deny the athleticism, and the tape from 2023 was unbelievable, that he's still a top 20 player in the class as of now, and he's the number 4 edge rusher for me. I think there's a lot of positives in his game, but I think there's equally as many concerns for me as well. And the only way I think you can override these concerns, I think he should move back to linebacker. He played better there. It's plain and simple. You can really tap into his coverage instincts and his feel for triggering downhill and making big plays. But he also is a really good blitzing threat, and his timing was unbelievable. And he could be used in a very similar role to Micah Parsons. I just don't think he fits as a true edge at the NFL level, and he hasn't shown to fit at the collegiate level there either. Carter is going to draw a lot of comparisons to Micah Parsons because of the very similar play styles, and they both played for Penn State. But I'm going to go a bit of a different direction here because I think he plays a little bit more like Bryce Huff. Both are explosive athletes with incredible quickness, but are best in designated pass rushing roles. Both of them also really struggled to wrap up consistently as run defenders, so that's who I landed on. Huff has been very productive as a pass rusher for the Jets, and while he's gotten off to a slow start early on for the Eagles, I think there's a lot of similarities in their game. Abdul Carter is crazy explosive, and he has some ridiculous athletic tools and upside. But there are a lot of concerns in his game that I think have to get cleaned up. I am a little worried about him, and I want to see a little bit more development from him as a pass rusher, but I still believe that Abdul Carter will be a first-round pick in the 2025 NFL Draft.